20 most beautiful actresses of the 80s and 90s. You won't believe how they look in 2026. In the early 90s, Uma Thurman was unlike anything Hollywood had ever seen. Tall, otherworldly, with those piercing eyes and that unforgettable presence, she was beauty on her own terms. Her role as Mia Wallace in Pulp Fiction in 1994 cemented her as one of the most captivating women ever to grace the silver screen. And today, at 55 years old, Uma Thurman is still that same striking, powerful woman, just with even more wisdom behind those eyes. Hollywood has never quite replaced her. Number 19, Jennifer Connelly. She first captured hearts as a teenager in Labyrinth in 1986, starring opposite David Bowie. With her dark hair, soulful eyes, and almost dreamlike beauty, Jennifer Connelly looked like she had stepped out of a Renaissance painting. She would go on to win an Academy Award for A Beautiful Mind, proving that her talent matched every inch of her breathtaking looks. At 55 years old in 2026, Jennifer Connelly remains hauntingly, timelessly beautiful. Number 18, Courtney Cox. Before she was Monica Geller, Courtney Cox was already turning heads, appearing in a Bruce Springsteen music video and stealing scenes in everything she touched. But it was Friends, premiering in 1994, that made her one of the most recognizable faces on the planet. Dark hair, bright smile, effortless charm, she was America's best friend and America's crush at the same time. At 61 years old, Courtney Cox is still vivacious, still glowing. Number 17, the irresistible Goldie Hawn. Goldie Hawn brought something rare to Hollywood, a beauty that laughed. Bubbly, radiant, and completely disarming, she lit up every screen she ever stood in front of. Her performance in Private Benjamin in 1980 showed the world that funny and gorgeous could coexist perfectly. And at 80 years old in 2026, yes, you heard that right, Goldie Hawn is still glowing with that same infectious energy. Age has simply been unable to dim her light. Number 16, the commanding Sigourney Weaver. When Sigourney Weaver strapped on that gear in Aliens in 1986, she didn't just redefine action heroines, she redefined what powerful beauty looked like. Tall, sharp-featured, and intensely charismatic. Sigourney was a different kind of Hollywood goddess, one that didn't need anyone's permission to be extraordinary. At 76 years old, she is still working, still magnetic, and still one of the most respected women in the history of cinema. Number 15, Geena Davis. At 6 feet tall, with razor-sharp cheekbones and warm, expressive eyes, Geena Davis was impossible to ignore. Her performance in Thelma and Louise in 1991 alongside Susan Sarandon became a cultural earthquake. Bold, beautiful, and completely unforgettable. She also won an Oscar for The Accidental Tourist in 1989, because of course she did. At 69 years old, Geena Davis remains one of Hollywood's most striking and dignified presences. Number 14, the radiant Salma Hayek. When Salma Hayek appeared in Desperado in 1995 alongside Antonio Banderas, she didn't just make an entrance, she made history. Dark eyes that could stop traffic, a smile that could end arguments, and a confidence that filled every room. She broke barriers, shattered glass ceilings, and looked absolutely stunning doing it. At 59 years old in 2026, Salma Hayek is quite possibly more beautiful than she has ever been. Some people were simply built different. Number 13, Kim Basinger. Blonde, luminous, and dangerously beautiful Kim Basinger was one of the most desired women in Hollywood throughout the 1980s. Whether she was playing a seductive alien in My Stepmother, is an alien, or a complex woman in LA Confidential, which earned her an Academy Award, Kim Basinger always commanded the screen. At 72 years old, Her beauty remains classic, refined, and completely undeniable. Number 12, the iconic Pamela Anderson. Few faces were more synonymous with the 1990s than Pamela Anderson. As CJ Parker on Baywatch, she became one of the most recognizable women on the planet, a true pop culture phenomenon whose image transcended television and entered the cultural stratosphere. At 58 years old, Pamela Anderson has experienced a remarkable and celebrated renaissance, reclaiming her narrative, stunning critics, and reminding everyone that her story was never finished. Number 11, Cindy Crawford. Technically a supermodel, but Cindy Crawford's influence on Hollywood beauty was undeniable. That face, the mole, the cheekbones, the jaw defined an era. Her appearance in Fair Game in 1995 showed she could command a movie screen just as easily as a runway. At 59 years old, Cindy Crawford is living proof that some beauty is simply architectural built to last a lifetime. We are exactly halfway through our list, and I have to say, the women coming up in our top 10, they are on another level entirely. Before we continue, drop a comment right now with the name of the Hollywood beauty you think deserves the number 1 spot. We read every single comment. And if you're enjoying this trip down memory lane, hit that like button. It genuinely helps us make more videos like this one. Alright, top 10, let's go. Number 10, Nicole Kidman. Pale as moonlight, with fiery red hair and eyes that seem to carry entire universes inside them. Nicole Kidman arrived in Hollywood and immediately felt like someone from another time. She had the beauty of a 1940s film noir heroine. Eyes wide shut, Moulin Rouge. The others, she chose bold, transformative roles and made each one shimmer. At 58 years old, Nicole Kidman is still one of the most elegant women in the entertainment world. In the late 80s and throughout the 90s, Winona Ryder was the face of a generation. Dark, doe-eyed, and magnetic, she represented a different kind of beauty brooding, intelligent, and deeply romantic. From Beetlejuice to Edward Scissorhands to Reality Bites, she was everywhere, and she was everything. At 54 years old, Winona Ryder has experienced one of Hollywood's greatest second acts, introducing herself to an entirely new generation through Stranger Things. And she still has those eyes. Number 8, Halle Berry. There are beautiful people, and then there is Halle Berry. From the moment she appeared on screen in Boomerang in 1992, it was clear that Hollywood had someone truly extraordinary on its hands. She went on to become the first and still only Black woman to win the Academy Award for Best Actress for Monsters Ball in 2002. Her beauty has always been the least interesting thing about her. At 59 years old, Halle Berry looks like time signed a peace treaty with her. Number 7, Michelle Pfeiffer. There is a particular kind of beauty that feels almost unreal, like a painting that somehow started moving. That was Michelle Pfeiffer in the 1980s and 90s. Her performance in Scarface introduced her. The fabulous Baker Boys immortalized her. Batman Returns made her iconic. She had elegance, vulnerability, fire, and grace all at once. At 67 years old in 2026, Michelle Pfeiffer is widely regarded as one of the most beautiful women Hollywood has ever produced. Number 6, Sharon Stone. The word bombshell was practically invented for Sharon Stone. In 1992, Basic Instinct made her one of the most talked about women on the planet. She followed it with a career-defining performance in Casino, earning an Academy Award nomination and proving that her talent was every bit as powerful as her presence. Bold, fearless, electrifying. At 68 years old, Sharon Stone continues to command attention in every room she enters, because that kind of energy doesn't age. Number 5, Meg Ryan. She was the girl everyone wanted to be with, and the girl every woman wanted to be friends with. Meg Ryan was the romantic comedy queen of the 80s and 90s, with a smile so warm it could thaw a January morning. When Harry Met Sally, Sleepless in Seattle, You've Got Mail, each one a masterpiece of charm and beauty. At 64 years old, Meg Ryan recently returned to the big screen, and America welcomed her back. Number 4. Sandra Bullock, the girl next door who also happened to be one of the most talented and naturally beautiful actresses of her generation. From the action of Speed in 1994 to the rom-com magic of While You Were Sleeping, Sandra Bullock made every role feel effortlessly human. She would go on to win an Oscar for The Blind Side and become one of Hollywood's highest-paid stars. At 61 years old, Sandra Bullock has stepped back from the spotlight, but her legacy still glows. Number 3. Demi Moore, dark eyes, perfect bone structure. A fierce, unapologetic presence that made every role she touched feel dangerous and alive. Demi Moore in Ghost, in 1990, was one of cinema's great romantic images. The pottery scene alone guaranteed her immortality. She pushed boundaries in Indecent Proposal, A Few Good Men, and Striptease, never apologizing, never shrinking, always commanding. At 63 years old, Demi Moore is experiencing a powerful, triumphant return to the spotlight. Number 2, the one and only Julia Roberts. That smile, that laugh, those eyes. Julia Roberts walked into Pretty Woman in 1990 and walked out as the biggest movie star on the planet. She made it look effortless. She made it look joyful. She remains the only woman to have been named People magazine's Most Beautiful Woman 5 times. At 58 years old, Julia Roberts is still that smile, still that laugh, still entirely, completely herself. And our number 1 most beautiful Hollywood icon of the 80s and 90s, Michelle Pfeiffer. She was voted the most beautiful woman in the world by multiple publications throughout the late 80s and 90s. Michelle Pfeiffer didn't just fit into Hollywood's definition of beauty. And in 2026, at 67 years old, looking at her today, it is impossible not to feel that same catch in your throat that audiences felt 40 years ago. The 1980s and 90s gave us something truly irreplaceable, a generation of women whose beauty was matched only by their talent, their courage, and their individuality. They made us fall in love with the movies. They made Friday nights feel magical. They gave us memories we still carry with us today. Which of these incredible women is your number 1? Leave her name in the comments right now. We want to know. And if this video brought back some beautiful memories, give it a like, share it with someone who loves classic Hollywood, and subscribe because we have so many more of these coming very soon. Until next time, keep celebrating the legends. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to this channel.